out there live to New York City. A beautiful live now look there at the skyline. Earlier though, just moments ago rather, about 6-7 minutes ago, we got the perp walk of the suspect who was wanted in the shooting death of that young mother on the Upper East Side. That's 22-year-old Isaac Argro. He's been arrested and charged with murder and criminal possession of a weapon in regard to the tragic shooting of Asia Johnson on the Upper East Side of Manhattan. This happened Wednesday night. They had been looking for him ever since. Asia Johnson was staying in a domestic violence shelter. She was saving up to afford her own place. She reportedly texted relatives that she planned to meet her child's father the night she was killed because she felt bad that he wasn't in their daughter's life. According to her mother, who spoke with Fox News Digital, Lisa DeSort says, "He threatened me with death, my daughter with death, and my other daughter with death." So right now he's been taken into custody following the shooting death of 20-year-old Asia Johnson. That's according to the NYPD Commissioner Keechant Sewell, who tweeted that earlier tonight, and we had been waiting for this perp walk here out of the precinct as he goes to get arraigned. Remember, Johnson was shot in the back of the head Wednesday night while pushing her 3-month-old in a stroller. The suspect is the child's father as well. This happened at East 95th Street and Lexington Avenue on the Upper East Side of New York City, if you're familiar. So this is developing right now. We wanted to bring you this story here. We're going to move away from this, though. We're going to stay in New York. If he does make his first court appearance either over the weekend or into early next week, we'll bring that to you here. Just a final note on this. 22-year-old Isaac Argro arrested, charged in the murder of his girlfriend and the father of their child in the shooting death of her on
Sorry about that. I had to put on something to block out the background noise. Okay, so I wanted to talk about controlling your emotions in a relationship. Okay? I wanted to talk about how as people of, God, we have to control our emotions. Okay? How there are things that if we don't do right in God, there are consequences to be had. All right. First, I'll just read this story right here. Okay. The man accused of killing his 20-year-old girlfriend as she pushed their baby in a stroller on the Upper East Side was sent to jail without bail Saturday for a crime prosecutors called premeditated execution. Isaac, 22, was arraigned in Manhattan criminal court Saturday night on charges of second-degree murder and second-degree weapons possession as the distraught mother and sisters of his alleged victim, Azealia Johnson, looked on. Johnson, 20, who was shot at point-blank range near Lexington Avenue and East 95th Street Wednesday as she pushed her 3-month-old baby in a stroller. To meet with Argo, who had recently been trying to get back in the healthcare workers' good graces after months of abuse and threats, police and family members said. Argo was dressed in all black and wore a ski mask as he paced back and forth while waiting to kill his estranged girlfriend. Manhattan Assistant District Attorney Brittany Descare told Judge Eric Schumacher. Case was only to be described as a premeditated execution. The defendant persuaded the victim to meet after work under the guise that he wanted to give the deceased the item for their 3-month-old daughter. The seers said the victim's mother, Lisa Desort, began crying inconsolably. The defendant shot the mother of his child at point-blank range in the head, keeping his crying 3-month-old daughter in the stroller as he ran away, the prosecutor said. After committing his heinous murder, Argo called Johnson's family and asked where his child was, while threatening that another unidentified person was next, officials alleged. With respect to bail, Your Honor, people are requesting the defendant be remanded. This case can only be described as premeditated execution, Descare told the judge. After Schumacher remanded Argo to jail without bail, the suspected killer asked the court for protective custody and medical attention. He is set to return to court on July 7th and faces 25 years to life in prison if convicted. I thought I could be stronger than what I was, but I did have a little moment of breakdown because it's the first time I actually heard what really happened in a chronological order, Lisa Desert told the Post after the court. To be honest, I wanted to jump up and scream, "Coward," she explained. "You're not a man, you're a monster." That's what I wanted to scream out. Desort said her daughter's alleged killer was a wannabe gang member who her family had nicknamed Angry Bird. "I honestly allowed you into my home. I don't allow people into my home. I try to treat you like a son. I wanted you to be a part of your daughter's life, but you couldn't be civil. That's all we wanted. That's all my daughter wanted," she said when asked what she would say to Argo. All right. So I'm going to stop there. All right. There's a reason why, the Bible is against having sex before marriage. The Bible basically says these things because he knows what will transpire. All right. God knows what will transpire. The amount of messes that people who don't know God go through. The suffering that they go through. All right. The thing is that us men have to have our lives together before having kids. That's paramount. And you have to be able to control your emotions. Okay? Some of us men, all right, who have gotten women pregnant, and whether you were in the world before you did this, or now you made a choice, and that was the outcome of it. That was the end result, that you have a child. And now you're dealing with a woman that is just your baby mother and not a woman that is your wife. You have to deal with the fact that she may not want you anymore, and that's just the price to pay. That's just how it goes. All right, and you have to raise that child, even if the situation is difficult. All right. By no means do we abuse the woman, okay? And here are, it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. All right. Now, this young man is going to be facing 25 years to life. 25 years. Hopefully, he'll find Jesus. Hopefully. And hopefully God will give him the grace and the strength to understand that you're not getting out. and you have to spend the rest of your life there serving Jesus in prison. Here are some scriptures about managing our emotions, controlling them. 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 13. No temptation that has overtaken you that is not common to man. God is faithful, and he will not let you be tempted beyond your ability. But with temptation, he will provide a way of escape, that you may be able to endure it. Okay? Proverbs chapter 16, verse 32. Whoever is slow to anger is better than the mighty, and he who rules his spirit than he who takes a city. Galatians chapter 5, verse 16, verse 24. But I say walk by the Spirit, and you will not gratify the desires of the flesh. For the desires of the flesh are against the Spirit, and the desires of the Spirit are against the flesh. For those who are opposed, they are opposed to each other, to keep you from doing the things that you want to do. But if you are led by the Spirit, you are not under the law. Now the works of the flesh are evident: sexual morality. This is what leads people to have, people who don't belong together. They end up getting tied with a baby, all right, or they get tied by, a soul tie, and this is how messes be happening. What I just read, that article I just read: impurity, sensuality, idolatry, sorcery, enmity, strife, jealousy, fits of anger, rivalries, dissension, and divisions. Galatians chapter 5, verses 22 to 23. But the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control. Against such things there is no law. 2 Peter chapter 1, verses 5 to 9. For this very reason, make every effort to supplement your faith with virtue, virtue with knowledge, and virtue with self-control, and self-control with steadfastness, and steadfastness with godliness, and godliness with brotherly affection, and brotherly affection with love. For if these qualities are yours and are increasing, they keep you from being ineffective or unfruitful in the knowledge of our Lord Jesus Christ. For whosoever lacks these qualities is nearsighted, that he is blind, and has forgotten what he was cleansed from. That he was cleansed from his former sins. Okay, now here's one scripture, Proverbs chapter 12, verse 16, that stuck out to me. The vexation of a fool is known at once, but the prudent ignores an insult. Okay. Now, this was known, he was called an angry bird. Okay. Some of us, and we get into relationships, and it may end up being toxic, or it's just, one of those situations that people say things that get under your skin, and it's best to ignore them or just walk away. Okay? There's nothing wrong with walking away. It doesn't make you less of a man. There's nothing wrong with walking away. Okay? There's nothing wrong with that. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. For us men, we have to be careful. We have to be careful. We have to understand that if we let our emotions go out of control, we will pay for it. That's just the bottom line. That is the bottom line. Unfortunately, this young man right here, 22 years old, he threw his life away. Instead of getting help for his behavior and understanding the relationship is over and moving on, he decides to go and take a life. And not only to destroy his life, he leaves his young daughter to face this world alone. I mean, the daughter has a grandmother, but there's no father there. And we all know how, when young people grow up without fathers, how hard it is and what things they could end up getting into. And the cycle may end up repeating itself, because remember now, you don't hear nothing about this young girl that was slain. You don't hear nothing about her father. Now, this young man has caused another cycle, another generation to suffer the same fate as the mother. And he doesn't even realize that. He doesn't realize that. But unfortunately, he may realize that if he gets saved while in prison. He may realize that. And that is when it's really going to hurt him. His daughter may end up getting into things, getting involved with the wrong man, just like the kid's mother got involved with him. And now he has to live out this sentence. He may not. Sad thing, in prison, they despise people who do two things. You hurt women and you hurt children. That is a death sentence. I just hope God, Jesus, is there with him. And, can protect him. And hopefully give him a new purpose, preaching the gospel in prison. That's all I could say. Peace and God bless.